So hello guys and welcome back to this tutorial. So this is the second part of these tutorials where we are looking at Java in 3 hours. So in this tutorial we are going to be continuing from where we left in the first tutorial. I'll leave the link below, and basically what happened in that first tutorial is we learned how to install Java, we learned how to install Eclipse, and we ran our first Hello World program. So what we are going to be doing here is just a continuation of that, but of course with now more programming and getting to familiarize ourselves with the programming language even more. So without further ado, let's continue. So what are the lesson objectives? The first thing is basic syntax and commenting in Java, variables in Java, data types in Java, operators. Then we are going to be looking at Java strings and then the booleans in Java. Okay, so I'm going to go into my Eclipse, right? I'm going to switch to Eclipse. So this is it, and since I want us to start afresh, I'm going to create a new application. I'm going to create a new Java project, and I'm going to name the project first project, first project, just like that. You can just name it anything. I'm going to click next. It's okay. I'm going to click finish. All right. So I'm gonna have to close this first. Just save that. This is a different application. Okay. So as you can see, basically what we have here is an empty project, and so we are going to be extending from this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new class here, class, and I'm going to call it main class. Okay, main. Okay, I'm going to call it main class, and I'm going to finish, right? So if you look at this class, this is a simple Java class, and what a class is basically it's a blueprint of an object, right? So I'm not going to be talking about classes in this video, but I'm going to be talking about classes in the next video. All right. So remember in this video we talked of we want first of all to understand the basic syntax of Java. So that is why we have created this class, and I'm going to just write some code here. Okay, main like that. I'm going to put string x like this, right? And then I'm going to explain what I've done. Okay. Public static, public static. So I'm going to add void public static void string. This is a string array. Okay. So this is a basic. This is a basic, very basic class definition in Java. Okay. And so we are going to be looking at this and seeing what is supposed to happen, or what is this basically, right? And so the very first thing to understand is that all Java applications start from a main method. All right. So basically, this is a method. Okay, and this is where all Java programs start. Okay, every Java program must have a main method. Right. This is where the main execution of the program starts. So the next thing that we are supposed to learn about this is that this is a basic syntax of a very simple hello world Java program. Okay, so for example, if I was to write something here, system dot out dot print system dot out dot print, right, like that. Okay, and I'm going to say, let's going to put in something here, hello user. Okay, this is a method, and this method is running this block of code inside here. All right, And so it is important to note that all the code in Java must be within a class for it to run. Okay, so remember, here we have a main class, and the main class has a method, and the method has a block of code that is being run. All right, so if we were to run this, of course, it's similar to what we did in there when we were installing Eclipse. And so it's just a very simple program. Okay, the next thing that we are supposed to understand about the Java syntax is that how do we save classes in Java? How do you name classes in Java? It is advisable to name all your classes starting with a capital letter. Okay, you see mine starts with a capital letter, and then after you've named your class starting with a capital letter, you are supposed to save the class using that same name, right? And then you add the .java extension at the end. So for example, what I'm saying here is that you cannot I cannot have this class. You see this class is being saved, has been saved as main.java, right? But this is because the ID itself compresses and adds the extension for us. So we cannot rename this class and call it main. We are going to get an error. So if I was to factor this class, just let me show you. If I was to factor this and I say I renamed this, so I'm going to change m, right, to small. Okay, we are going to experience an error. You see, it's an error. You see, by convention, Java types usually start with a capital letter. Okay, so of course it would have given us an error, right? So it has to start with a capital letter. And remember, your class may be main person, customer, products. So if, for example, your class contains two names or something, you will just add the other name starting with the capital letter. This is called Kame case naming. Okay, but since we don't have that, we just have a main class, and like we said, a class must always be saved using the extension it has been used to save. Okay, so that is that. If I was to run this, for example, I'm going to run this program, right? But again, this is not the purpose of that. We just first of all want to learn about the basic syntax of Java. So you can see the class has run successfully. So what are the takeaways from that? Before we go to the next section, you have to understand that Java by convention, all Java classes must start with a capital letter. Again, you have to understand that all codes in Java must run within a particular class. The other thing is that all applications Java start from a method that is called main. Okay, and that method is normally contained in the main class of the application. All right. So I hope we are good, and therefore you can proceed to the next section. All right. So we have talked about syntax. So the next part is looking at the commenting in Java. And what are comments in Java? Comments in Java is simply lines of code that do not get executed by the IDE at runtime. For example, this is a comment. Okay, this is called a single line comment. Okay, single line comment. Okay, that is a single line comment in Java. So why do we even need commenting in Java? It is very simple. You need to explain your code. Okay, commenting makes code more readable. It makes code more documentable, if I may call it that. So it is very easy to document a program with the right commenting in place. Okay, so we have that type of comment, which is the single line comment, and start of course with a double slash, and then you write what you write. So during execution, this line of code should not be run by the IDE. Okay, so if I was to look, you see it won't be run. Okay, so we have multi-line comments, and I'm going to give an example of a multi-line comment. And of course, a multi-line comment starts with a forward slash, then asterisk, like that, and then it ends with an asterisk. And then inside here, you can now have your lines of comment. So I may have first line, okay, first line. I may have second line, second line. I may have that line, like that. Okay. So it depends with the situation, right? You may want to put some comment here, And for this case, since maybe it's not a very long line of sentence, you just have to put the single line comment. Okay, but what is important to note is that commenting in Java is only used to ensure code is more readable, and you can also use commenting to test other parts of the code. For example, I may have 2 lines or 3 lines of code in this. Okay, so if I want to test this line only, I may first of all comment the other line. If I comment this code like this won't run. All right. Okay, so if I was just to say system dot out dot print line, okay, just like this dot print line that, and I'm going to say let's put anything. All right. So what this means is that this line won't be then, this is what will be then. Okay, and this is a situation where you can maybe use commenting to test one part of code, right? You see, so we have commented this. So if I uncomment this and I run the project again, so we are going to get both lines executed. Okay, so that is commenting, and I hope you understand it very simply. So the next part is interesting. Now this is where we start the coding. Okay, and what we should be looking at is data types in Java. Okay, so if you are to if we are to go back and look at what we had here, the lesson objectives, of course, the third thing is looking at the data types in Java. Okay, so I'm going to just go back to the program. Okay, at the moment, right? So we are going to be looking at variables, and a variable is very simple. A variable in Java is simply a container that is used to store some information or some data for that case, right? And we have different types of variables in Java. Okay, we have a number of them. For this case, we are going to look at a few of them, and then of course, once we continue as we progress with the programming, we shall be seeing how to apply these variables in different situations. Okay, so the most common ones that we shall be dealing with, even when we are programming, include I'm just going to delete this what I have here. I'm going to use the more trained comments. So the first one is string. Okay, and what is a string? A string is simply a representation of characters in Java. Okay, so a character is a primitive data type. All right, we are going to be looking at what is what are data types. Okay, but as I've said, and I have to correct that, in this section we are looking at, for now we are looking at Java variables. Okay, not data types. All right, data types, we have two main data types in Java, whereby we talk of primitive and non-primitive data types. All right, but for this is Java variables, specific variables, and I have said that variables are used to store some information or some data. All right, so the string variable is used to store data that is in the form of characters. Okay, and I'm going to give an example of that. So we have another one that is an int or an integer. Okay, and this one simply, just like the name goes, it stores integers. All right, we have another one that stores the floating point numbers. If you're coming from computer science, of course you know what are floating point numbers, and those floating point numbers, they have decimals within them. Okay, they have decimals within them. um we have another one that is character. Okay, and then of course we have the booleans. Now the booleans deal with issues of true or false. Okay, we shall be seeing what are booleans, especially when we shall be looking at loop control and all that, right? So for now, maybe you don't understand what are booleans, but when you are doing loop controls, you shall see where it returns true and false. Okay, so what is a string? A string basically represents text. Okay, and even before we get to that, I'm going to transfer to maybe just comment this. So let's start using what we've already done. I'm going to comment that, and I'm going to just type here, I'm going to say string. you may ask the syntax of any variable in Java. So what we normally do, we start with the type, the variable type. Okay, so the variable type, and then name of the variable here, variable name, variable name, sorry, variable name. Of course, it has to be, and then we use the equal sign to assign value, assign value, value to the variable. Okay, so all these, let's see what I mean by this. So I've commented it out. So for example, we said a string represents text. So I'm going to say string. What's an example of text? Name is an example of text. I'm going to say name is equals to, of course, the string starts, a string starts with double quotes, or sometimes we may use single quotes in Java, but we have to use double quotes. Okay, so inside this double quotes, that is where we have to state the string, maybe Joshua, right? And then of course at the end we have to end with the semicolon. Okay, so this is how we assign values to variables. Okay, so in this side, this is the type, this is a variable type, this is the name of that variable, and this is the value of that variable. Okay, so this is the type, name, and the value. So if I want to use that variable, I just have to use I just have to use I just have to use that name. I can access it using the name that I've given. So I want it to print out name. Okay, you can see this is the same name, and you have to use the same name that you used here, because Java is case sensitive. If you use the term name, then this one is not defined. If you get an error that says it cannot be solved since it has not been defined, so we use name. And then I'm going to run our program, so we should get output of Joshua. Okay, and that's it. All right. With that, we move on to the next part. Of course, the integer, these are real numbers, whole numbers. Okay, so we have an integer int balance, no, int id is equals to 8. Okay, name it is equals to 8. You can have a floating point number, float balance is equals to, maybe talk of maybe that point, like that. Okay, and maybe you can have another one. Just a moment, you just have to have at least 2 decimals. Okay, so let's use 2 decimals and see. Okay, float balance, let's see the error. What is the error there? Float balance is equals to type mismatch, cannot convert from double. So this is a double, right? And therefore, okay, let's say 0.44. Let's check on this. It's not supposed to misbehave. I think it was good that we got that here, because I had also forgotten another variable here, whereby we use double, and it's a very common variable in Java. So for floating point numbers, we must indicate at the end that it's a floating point number. And how we do that? We use this f here. Okay, we have to append that f at the end of it. All right. For the double is normally used, especially with you may say price is equals to maybe 20.4, like that, and that's a double. Okay, so again, if you want to print any of these numbers, you just have to, any of these variables out, you just have to call the name here. For example, you may print the float, the balance. Okay, and then let's see what is going to happen. And of course, this now prints a string, so you just have to just put it as print. Okay, I'm going to explain the difference between println and print. Okay, So let's see. So you can see it has already printed that. All right. Okay. So print line is normally used to print strings, string variables or lines or text or characters, but the print is used to whenever you are dealing with digits. Okay. All right. So for the remaining part of the tutorial, we have to be looking at the next section, and that would be we have to look at data types in Java. Okay, I have to be guided by this guide here. All right, data types in Java. All right. Okay, so of course there are different data types in Java. Okay, and it's similar to what I've already explained. You see, this by itself, these are data types. Remember, we said the variables. We are saying this is it's a string variable, but it's of the type string. So string by itself is a data type. Okay, and so like I talked about Java, we normally have two types of data types, two main types of data types. Whereby you talk of primitive data types, and we talk of the non-primitive data types. Primitive data types are those data types that can be manipulated in Java to form more complex data types. Okay, for example, the primitive data types, we have byte, we have short, we have int, we have long, all that. We have booleans. Okay, but now when you come to the non-primitive data types, of course, you get to see items like strings. Okay, we have the strings, we have the sometimes you also have those arrays. Normally what I'm saying is that the primitive data types, they form the non-primitive data types, and the non-primitive data types are now if I may call it, a complex form of the primitive data types. Okay, for example, what is text? Text is a string of characters. Okay, so you see many characters form text. Text is a more complex data type because a character can be just one letter or even digit. Okay, all right, and so that is that. We have to go and look at Java operators. And operators in Java, when we talk about operators in Java, of course, what comes in mind is something to do with calculations and all that, arithmetic operators and all that. And operators are normally used to perform operations, and this may be mathematical operations in Java. Okay, and for example, let me say I have an integer here. Int x is equals to 8, and I want to just multiply it. Okay, by int y, assuming this is a rectangle of width 8 and of height 8 and width 12. Okay, so if I want to get an integer which is the answer, I name it answer, should be equal to either I have to put 8 multiplied by 12. By the way, guys, in computer, once the asterisk sign is an operator that means multiplication. Okay, so I have either to put it like this, or I may put it as, maybe I may put it as int ans2 as excuse me, x multiplied by y, like that. Right, both of these should give the same answer. All right, so I'm going to tell this one to print ans on one line, ans on one line, ans on one line, and I'm going to put like I'm going to put like this. Okay, I want to print another line, so I'm going to put it like backslash. Okay, I'm going to explain all these guys later on. I need to get a backslash. Okay, no need. Let me just first of all use this. Okay, like that. Okay, ans 2. So I want this one to print as 2. When I run this, 96, 96, it's supposed to be 96, 96, but both of them are supposed to run on a different line. Alright, okay. So if I was to put here, oh, I got the backslash. That's better. If I was to put here a backslash like that in a new line, then I'm going to print it like that. Okay, so when I now run this, I have a space between the two answers. Okay, that's how we print line in Java. Okay, so we have basically the Boolean operator, the arithmetic operators in Java are all available. Okay, we have the sum operator for additions, and of course the sum operator is a plus. Okay, if we need this, we can say plus. All right, that's the sum operator. Like I said, this is the multiplication operator, and it is asterisk. All right, it is asterisk. Of course, you have the division operator, and the division operator is like, it's just the backslash. We may say, for example, int answer and 3 is equals to, maybe I want to say 36 divided by y. Okay, right? So this is supposed to be a backslash, sorry for that, divided by y. So the what I'm basically saying is 36 divided by variable y, whereby variable y is 12. So the answer here will be 3. Okay, so the forward slash is the division operator. All right, and of course now we have the percentage operator, which represents the modulus. Okay, the mod. All right, and the mod is I should also check on that. I shall check on mod on another video. But we do have the increment operators, which is we do have the increment operators, which is like this: int increment, right? So I want to say maybe 1 plus plus, right? What this means is that when I run this operator, let me say x plus plus. Okay, plus 1. Okay, let me see. It's supposed to be plus x. What this means is this is a pre-increment operator. Okay, so before you print x, we have to add 1 to x. Normally what it just adds 1 to x, right? And so for that case, we have to understand how this works. Okay, I'm just going to print this. I'm just going to print the increment. Let me first of all comment all this. Okay, I think some of the other items we shall cover them in the second tutorial, right? Because as you've seen, we've run out of time. But anyway, let's just first of all run this. So you can see, instead of printing out 8, we have 9 instead. Okay, we have 9 instead. So let's check on the, and uh, we said we have increment. Now the opposite of that is decrement operator. So the decrement operator, if you might have guessed right, decrement operator, what it does, it subtracts 1 from the variable. Okay, like that. So if we print now decrement operator here, okay, so we run it, you can see what it does is that minus x, it's supposed to decrease x by 1. So guys, if you are to look at this, if we run this, we saw that it's supposed to decrease the value of x by 1, but as you can see here, it remains the constant. Okay, why is that? It's very, very simple. If you look at here, we were incrementing the value of x with plus 1. Okay, so that means the value of x was 9 first, and then we decrease the value of x by 1 to get it at 8. Okay, so if I comment out this, we should get 7 as the output. Okay, 7 as the output. Right, let me look. So that is the answer. Okay, so since we have run out of time for this tutorial, I'm going to make another tutorial that is going to just explain the operators in Java, maybe 5 minutes or 7 minutes tutorial. Just explain first of all the operators in Java, group them together, then we move to the strings. Okay, so I thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next one. Right.